All right, y'all, Rob Anderson, Clean Power Wash. We've done a bunch of other booster repair videos. We still love our boosters, using them all the time. I think we've got 5 or 6 of them in the shop right now. Some use, some right now just being repaired and whatnot, getting ready for the new season. So what we had happen, one of our newer guys was working on it and kind of just messed around with it initially, where you can go ahead before turning it on or checking it, and it was really binding up pretty good there. It sounded like essentially like that. Well, so we went ahead and turned it on, and it was still binding up. It wasn't spinning the way that it needed to. We already had 7 washers at the beginning. So, well, let's go ahead and move one more. And then they bring this into me, and I don't know how well you can see it on here, but you can almost see where the impeller or diffuser, sorry, is actually ground up on that already. That was a brand new one. And you can see here, if you look, this one's actually not too terribly bad, but this upper area, there's a little bit more space than this bottom area. What we figured out was that the actual rod itself inside here was just slightly bent. Now that can happen pretty easily. I've jacked a couple of them up myself, just in how you're taking them off and on. So we decided, since we've got a couple for spare parts, that we'd take one off and let Andy kind of take over as far as how they took it apart.
So basically you pull it out, it sits in here on this spring. You got this bolt back here where it screws in and basically tightens it back down. So it's sitting on there now. It's not fully tightened down to where it needs to be. Another thing I noticed was the spring in here. There's not a whole lot of action left in that spring, so that's something we're probably going to replace as well, and something to keep in mind.
So as you get through with these, and sorry, we'll move that back just a little bit, but as you start getting more and more boosters, if you got your first one, you can repair. Most times what you're going to have happen, whether it's these kind of diffusers or these kinds, that's your number one wear point that you're going to have. This particular one had a bunch of stuff that had worn down in it, and it makes sense now. I'll show you. That one does not look good. See that? See how it's worn down around there? That means that diffuser was actually wearing on it. So it's going to continue to cause issues. That additional friction is going to break down those parts inside of it. This is where listening to your machine, also making sure that when you're putting it back together that you don't use your wrench and hit it too hard. I typically will actually have my foot underneath it so that I don't end up pulling it down too much and bending it, because all it's going to take is just a little bit of a tweak to it to cause issues. Fortunately, again, we have probably 5 that are usable right now. We've got spare parts ones of about 3 or 4 of them, but this just gives us that ability. And once your pump's broken, tear it apart. That's going to give you a better idea of what's inside it. I know the first time that I tore into ours, I was scared that it was going to like open it up and it was going to go and like explode everywhere. Watch all the Tim Hazelton videos, Paul Cassandra's videos about this. Ray Burke's got a couple good ones, Dougie Do. But that'll help you to be able to better troubleshoot your booster. And it's good for all your other employees to be able to see this if you've got multiple, so they also understand the impact, and they took pictures of what it looked like because people hadn't maintained it properly. They hadn't rinsed it out. They just let bleach sit in it over and over and over again. Very simple to prevent, or to at least extend the lifespan of these parts, and to be able to then not have to repair it. But once it does need to be repaired, we want to make sure that we can do it pretty quickly and easily. So I'll show you just real quick on this backside. That's the bolt that Andy was talking about in this video. Is getting that was how we were able to take the shaft off. So now he's just getting this whole canister lined up, and then we'll put it back together.